Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Check out this beauty. It's an 86 XR200 and I've been searching for an 86 or an 87 now for a couple years because I had an 87 when I was 16. It was my first full-size bike. That was back in 96. It was an 87 and I think we picked it up for like $700, $750 or something like that. It ran and everything and it looked just like this bike. I'll put a picture up here so you can see it. But that bike was my first XR, my first full-size bike, and it really made me fall in love with these smaller XRs and all the XRs for that matter. But this is the one that started it all for me. So I ended up selling that bike to my friend in 99, I believe it was. I bought my XR400 in July of 99, and then I sold the 200 to him. And I know he had it for a couple years, and then I think in 2000, I want to say 2002, 2003 maybe, he sold it to some other kids that were in the neighborhood, and I think they blew it up, unfortunately, and took it apart, and the thing never got put back together, and that was in like 2003 or 4 that they took it apart. So it's funny how I got it back was guy at work mentioned that he bought my old bike from my friend that I sold it to. So I didn't actually know them up until recently at work that I found out that they bought it off the buddy I sold it to. So I told him a couple years ago, I'm like, hey, if you ever, want to part with that, I'd take it back because it's my old bike. I'll buy it from you. And he's like, oh, dude, it's in horrible shape. I'm going to put some pictures up here now so you can see, which it is pretty sad. It's a sad state of affairs the way it looks right now. But he basically said, it's in a million pieces. We moved a couple times since we tore it down. We were going to try to fix it. And this is back when we were young kids. We didn't know what we were doing, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right, well, if you ever decide to part with it, let me know. And that was like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So I sent him a picture of this when I picked this bike up, and he's like, well, I'll give you yours if you want it back. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll take it. So, I gave him some money for it, but it's missing a lot. So probably won't be able to do a video on that bike for a while until I accumulate the parts needed. It's going to probably be years, if that, before that thing will be going again. But at least have the frame, bottom end, I got the wheels. And one cool part is the skid plate that I put on it back in like 97, I think. He actually still had that. So I'll probably put that on this bike just so part of it lives on. And it also has a Super Trap muffler that I put on that thing probably in 97 or 98, which he still had. I'll leave this stock exhaust on here though, I think. But I'll move that skid plate over to this bike so at least part of it still lives on another XR200 until it's back together, which, like I said, I got a lot of parts to source, so I don't know when that's going to be. But I at least have this one here to go by for a while. So it was pretty cool how I got it all back. Finding this one triggered the other one to come back, the original one. So I guess when it rains, it pours for XR200s with me, but I'll take it. So when I saw my buddy sent this to me on Marketplace, so Zach, if you're watching, thanks again. Couldn't pass it up. I shot the guy a message. I was the first guy, thankfully, because he got bombarded with messages that same couple minutes after I sent it. So I lucked out. So Zach, thanks again, man. Really appreciate it. He hooked me up with my childhood bike here. And this one is, I'd say, 99% complete. Missing just a tool bag on the back. Some nuts and bolts here and there. It's a little ratty here when you look closer, but otherwise it is complete. I mean, look, it's even got the trip odometer and speedometer on it, which you never see on these things. It's got the tail light on it too. Headlight, of course. Everything seems to function except for the clutch. The clutch arm here is stuck. So I think there's something going on in here. We'll have to get a look at that. I don't think it's the cable, because the cable, I can actually move it a little bit, and this starts to move, but it just gets stuck, and I don't want to force it. So probably end up having to take this off to see what's going on there. It's also missing the auto decompression mechanism, at least the arm that goes here, and the cable that comes up and attaches to here. And the bike's got amazing compression. You kick it over, it's got really good compression. And I've even held this up while I kicked it to simulate that, so I know that it will work once that's hooked up. But looks like that might have gotten tweaked there a little bit too. I don't think that's supposed to be bent like that. So there's that. Those are the few couple things that it's missing, but otherwise it's a really solid bike. Seat's in really good shape too. There's no tears. Check out this side here. It's got the side covers. A little bit beat up, but they're not cracked. The paint's just kind of chipping off a little bit, nothing major. I need to find a bolt for this. It's got a couple things missing. One of the bolts missing back here too. So cosmetically, it's I'd say a 6 or a 7 maybe. Frame's a little bit rusty looking, but no holes or nothing. Frame rails aren't bashed in. It's a good thing. Front tire could use replacement. The back tire looks brand new, aside from cobwebs all over it. This is an old Chengshin, I think. Yeah, Chengshin tire. And this is when they went back to the 17-inch rims, because my 83 that I got over there has the 18-inch. So I think it was in 86 that they switched over. So this might be the first year for the 17-inch off the look. So I think for this video, we're just going to try to get it to start. So the story goes with this is the guy I bought it from, he's an older gentleman, retired, trying to clear out stuff at his house because they're going to be moving. And this was his son's bike. And they're long out of college and moved away and stuff. So from what it sounded like, this thing has been sitting for over 20 years at their place. And it's just kind of been taking up space. And he always kind of wanted to keep it and just to have a bike around for them to ride if they ever came back to their house. Family functions, events, so they have a bike just to putt around on. But no one ever took interest in it with his sons, at least. So it's just kind of been taking up space. And that's when he put it up on Marketplace. So I swooped in, grabbed it, and gonna get this thing going again. And I'm gonna relive my 16-year-old self on my 87 XR200 with this. So I think first thing I'm going to do is we're just going to check for spark, and then probably get the carburetor cleaned up. And then I might not worry about the clutch right now until we go to ride it, but I just want to see if we can get it started. So we'll focus on spark, fuel, and making sure we get it to run, see how it sounds. And then obviously when we go to ride it, I'm going to have to take this off and get a look at this clutch arm here to see why that's hung up there. Hopefully it's just something simple down here that's binding or something like that. And I think we can get away with not having to worry about this for now too. I know ideally you want to have that so you don't break anything with the Kickstarter. I know some people have said if you don't run the auto decompression, it'll put strain on the kicking mechanism. I don't know how true that is. Never really run into an issue with that before on other bikes, but I'd rather this be complete. So I'm going to look for the little arm that goes here in the cable. We'll get all that hooked up too eventually, but first things, we'll just get it running and see how it sounds. So this one I've been waiting for a long time. This is going to be a special bike. So this one's going to be, this one's definitely going to be a keeper for me when we're done. I'll probably get it cleaned up. I might even go the full route once we get it running and running good. I might strip it all the way down and give it to my buddy to sandblast the frame, and repaint everything and make it look all pretty. So, all right, well, I think it's time to get started. Start with spark first. The previous owner did tell me he put a new plug in it to try to get it to run, and I think he did say it had spark, but we'll just confirm that here. Oh, goodness, that's in there tight. It looks like a new plug. I don't smell any fuel on it. Yeah, a little bit maybe. So you probably did try to kick it over. All right, let's see what we got. Yep, I can see some spark. Yep, we got good spark. Before we start kicking it over too much, I'm gonna get a look and make sure we got enough oil in here. I did check that when I looked at the bike and there was oil on it, but we'll just double check it. This wiped off, and then we gotta sand it straight up. Just lay this right at the top of the threads while the bike is upright. And we got plenty of oil on there. I think the guy I bought it off of said he did change the oil, so that's brand new oil in there. So that's good. I'm gonna get the air box opened up. We're gonna look at the air filter, make sure that's not trashed, and we're not gonna be sucking in all kind of broken down filter elements. So we're gonna go around to the other side here and get that air box opened up. This was inside this guy's garage, attached to his house, so I'm not expecting to find any mouse surprises in here, but you never know. Oh, it looks like a brand new air filter. Yeah, it's a brand new air filter, but they don't have the cage on here. They just kind of have it sitting right on the the mount here, which that probably wasn't doing a good job of keeping dirt from getting in there. Sheesh. I gotta find one of those. I don't even think this is oiled. Looks like they just threw that in. And let's get that out of there for now. And there's a cardboard washer on there. That's a first. Yeah, this is a brand new filter. There's no oil on it either. So that's gonna need addressed. Let's get a look in here. At least there's no mice living in there, but I am gonna have to find that cage for the backfire cage for the filter, because that's just not gonna seal on here without it. So I might try to kick it over a few times here, just to see if we get lucky and get it to pop over. But I have a feeling that the carburetor is going to need addressed. I'll see if we get any gas flow out of here too. I know he said he did put some fuel in here. Get a look. He said he was kicking it over. He put some fresh gas in before I came to look at it, just to see if we can get it to run. So I see some gas down at the bottom, but it doesn't smell like it's stale, so it probably is newer gas. So we're gonna pop the fuel line off and see if we get any flow out of here. See if we get anything going to the carburetor. I'm just gonna yank the cable off from right here. See if we get anything coming out of here. Oh yeah, a little bit. Try putting it on reserve. Yeah, so reserve we get stuff. So I think I got a stuck float in there. I just hooked this back up and put the petcock onto reserve, and I had a lot of gas flowing out of the overflow there. So, and it wasn't until I put it on its kickstand. So let's try it straight up and see if it's just the float maybe that's stuck. I'm sure it is, but I just kind of want to see if it pops over. So I'm going to try it one more time. Okay, so that's reserve. I don't see anything yet. Let's try it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's just flowing right out. I'll try tapping on that a couple times. I just want to see if I can get it to pop over. So I'm going to try it one more time. Give it a few kicks before all the gas drains out. I know I'm going to have to take that carburetor off regardless, but we're going to try it. Choke on. Reserve. Whoa. Second kick, really? Ow. Oh, it wants to. Well, she'll run. Whoa. This needs a carb clean. Well, the obvious next step is to get this carburetor out, get it cleaned up, get the float unstuck, and whatever else needs addressed. So let's yank this out next. That out of the way, it should be a little easier to get the stuff here. Just gonna heat this boot up here so I can pull this off without ripping it. It's pretty stiff right now. I'll just get some heat to it. It should make it a little softer. I'd say there's quite a bit of dirt in there. Look at that. That don't look nice. That's rock hard too. This one's gonna need an ultrasonic soak, I'm assuming. Another thing I'm noticing here right on this boot is you can see daylight through the base of this. So I think I have a spare one of these from a parts bike. I'm gonna see how that one looks like. I might replace it or just try to patch this up in the meantime. So that'll need addressed. So yeah, by the looks of this, I'm fully expecting this to be pretty cruddy inside. This is probably because of the lack of air filter on there, I would assume. Just kind of built up over time, and it's like rock hard too. It's coming off, but it's pretty thick. So this one's definitely probably gonna have to go into the ultrasonic, but let's crack it open and see what we got. Okay, here we go. Wow. Look at all that junk down there. I can't believe the thing even ran. That little bit that it did. That's nuts. It's pretty crusty on there. Baffle looks like it took a hit somehow. It's broken. Pieces of that falling apart. Yeah, the float was kind of gummy. Wasn't completely stuck, but probably that little bit of extra gas going through there might have loosened it up a little bit. But yeah, when I first turned that on, it was just gushing right out. Yeah, this is going to be a ultrasonic run for sure. There's actually mud at the bottom of this. Look at that. Wow. See if I can get float out. Some spray on there. It doesn't want to move. Let's see how far out we are on the fuel screw here. We'll set that back to where we had it once we put it back together. Get a good size screwdriver for that. Okay, so we got one turn. 1.5. That was at 1.5 out. So we got a spring. Don't know if there's an O-ring in there. Let's try to get this pilot out. Nice and easy. Don't want to snap nothing off in there. Yeah, that one's close, solid there. So it never would have idled. Seeing through those. Amazing that it even ran. All right, let me work on getting this float out here. I'll bring you back in once I get that to move. I don't want to bore you. Yeah, we finally got this to pop out. Had to get some PB Blaster on there for a little bit. Okay, let me set this down for a second. Get a look at that float valve. It's got the little rubber tip on it. See that, I don't see any kind of indentation on it. So that might be still good. We'll get it cleaned up and look at it after it's all spotless. But I think we're about ready to throw it in the ultrasonic here. Take a look at that there. Look at all that crud. And it's mud. That's what happens when you don't have the right fastener for your air filter. Hopefully it wasn't run too long like that. Doesn't seem like it destroyed the top end because that thing's got great compression still. And started up easier than I thought with, you know, for not even opening up the carb. And after seeing this, I'm really surprised that it even ran. I'm going to let that one cook, heat up pretty good, and we're going to let it run for a while because that's pretty thick crust on there. So I think we're ready to go here. All right, after about an hour and a half in the ultrasonic, cooking away, I'm going to pull this out. We'll get this rinsed off, cleaned up, and get another look at it. Okay, we got everything rinsed off with some carb cleaner, and all the passages opened up, and it's way cleaner than it was before we dunked it in there. The pilot jet was completely clogged, and I had to get some wire and kind of put it down this way through these holes, but we have daylight through everything now, and I can actually blow through this. See if we can see light through there. I don't think it's going to show up on the camera. Yeah, there it is. So that's good. The emulsification tube, I think that's what that's called, that goes down where the main jet screws into, that's all clean. Holes are opened up, and just kind of cleaned all the residue off all this stuff. So I think we're going to put it back together now and throw it back on the bike. looks good. So this must have been sucking a lot of dirt in. When I pulled it out of the ultrasonic, at the very bottom here, where the main jet kind of sits down in this bowl part, was just really crusty, really hardened dirt. So it must have been holding on to dirt for a long time there. Really surprised that it was running with how bad that was. Fuel screw in. We're going to go all the way in and then turn it out 1.5 turns. The rubber appears to be okay on the tip here. I was looking for like that ring that forms on there when it gets hard, but it does seem to be okay. So we're going to try this and see how it goes. If it leaks, we'll just replace it. Looks good. All right, this gasket looks all right too. It wasn't leaking anything from the bowl, so I think we're okay there. Oh, almost forgot the baffle. What's left of it? I think for now, I'll just probably patch up the intake boot. It's just a tear right on the crease, basically, where it meets up against the airbox. So just temporarily at least, till I can get a better one, if I could find a better one, a good one. Still gotta find a cage for the air filter. All right, so this is all ready to go. We'll get this back on, get some fresh gas to it, and see if it'll run longer. Before I can put the carb on, I was going to address this crack right here, but then I saw this, and I figured I'm just gonna use the air box from the parts box that I got. I'll clean this up, but this is in much better shape, and I won't get to using this. This one actually had the backfire screen and part of the original filter, and I don't know if I can use that with that aftermarket one, but this one overall is in better shape, so I'm just going to clean this up and use this one. So I think it'll be easier if I slip the carb on first, and then worry about that air box lining up with it. Replacement air box all cleaned up. The boot is still really soft, so this should work a little bit better than the other one. No holes, and the trickiest part is just going to be fitting it in here. So I'm just going to wrestle it on and try to line it up with this right here. We got the fuel line hooked up, got some gas in there. Let's throw it on reserve, just to make sure we don't have anything leaking. Okay, so far the float is not sticking, that's good. All right, I'm gonna give it a few kicks. We'll see if we can get it to run again. All right, I got my exhaust fan going there, that 1980s fan right there. Hopefully take the exhaust out of my basement and outside. Hopefully this thing will run long, and we're gonna find out now. took the plug out, you can see it's running extremely rich. So I'm going to yank that carb off again and see if I see something out of sorts. So I started to yank the carb off, and I notice that the needle here is actually sitting above that clip that keeps that plate down there. And that would cause it to run extremely rich because it was going to lift that needle up and just let in all kind of gas. So that's most likely the problem. I should have checked that to begin with. That's my stupid mistake. But at least I didn't have to yank the whole thing off and take it apart before I noticed that. But yeah, that's most likely the issue. So I'm going to get this corrected, make sure it's on the right clip setting, and it's sitting flush down at the bottom, and that should take care of it. Here's a little bit closer look here without the spring in the way. You can see that needle's just kind of sitting on there cockeyed, so that is not going down as far as it should be. Okay, we got that in there. That's how that's supposed to look. Clip on top of it to hold that down to keep the needle from bouncing around in there. So I'm going to guess that's what was happening. I'm going to throw this back together. We're going to try starting it up again. Okay, it's all back together. Got some fuel to the carb again, and we're going to try kicking it over now. Let's see what happens. That's much better. Heading in the right direction. Still got something going on with the idle circuit though, I think. So I yanked the carb off again and was looking at the fuel mixture screw and didn't realize that these this washer and this O-ring was in behind this in the spring. So they both look okay. Still took them out just now. I'm going to clean everything up again. Nothing seemed like it was clogged. I'm probably going to adjust the float just to make sure that's not putting too much gas in there, but it looked okay. So I'm going to check for the order what these are supposed to go in, get this back together, throw it back on the carb, adjust the float, and then we'll try it again. I ended up having to drop the needle down on the slide, move the clip up one to lean it out just a little bit. I might have to go in and adjust the float again because I put that back together after just messing with the float and it still did it. And so I figured, what the heck, I'll try moving the needle down a little bit. And right away, it was noticeably better. So I'm going to put it back on the stand and I'll fire it up so you can hear it revving up and stuff, and it's way cleaner than it was. So it's just a couple of little fine tunes left here to get it to idle. Still doesn't want to idle, but it runs way cleaner. I think I'll try adjusting valves next. That's one thing I didn't look at yet on this. Let's give that a shot. All right, I got my caps here loosened up and the valve covers here too loosened up. So I'm just gonna take these out. We're gonna spin this over to top dead center. I'm just spinning this around counterclockwise till I get to the T. I gotta make sure I'm on the compression stroke. Okay, I'm at top dead center on the compression stroke. So if I come up here, I got a little bit of movement here. Just play on that one. Won't be able to see it moving on camera, but I have play. And also play in the intake valve as well. So the cam lobes are all facing down and not putting any kind of pressure on the valve. So let me get my feeler gauge and we're gonna check the clearances on there. So the intake gap should be 0.05 millimeters. And the for the intake for the exhaust, it's gonna be 0.08. I can already tell on the intake, this one's a little bit loose. I could fit this down in there way too easy and I could still move the rocker up and down while that's in between there. So that one is going to need tightened up just a little bit, whereas the exhaust feels like it's pretty much dead on. I could fit that one in there and it doesn't, it slides in there, a little bit of drag. And I can't really move the rocker up and down once it's in there. So I'm going to leave that one alone. And we're just going to tighten up the intake just a hair. Okay, we got a little bit of drag. Let's see if I can tighten this up. Check that again. Okay, slip that in there. Yeah, it took some of that play out of there. Perfect. All right, let's see if that makes any difference with the ability to idle. Valves are checked, and we're good to fire it up again. up with the idle circuit. Yeah, there it goes. All right, I think that's what I'm going to leave off on this one here, guys. The carburetor, I'm thinking, needs to come off again. Going to check the idle air circuit, the slow jet, everything. I went through that already twice. It's pretty clean. I was able to blow a carb cleaner through all those passages, and I get stuff coming out on the other end. So I'm not real sure what's going on here. Valves are adjusted. I did also put in the air cleaner with the proper the cage it goes in here, so that's fastened. So at first I thought maybe it was just because it didn't have any filter to pull on. It was messing with the jetting a little bit, so I threw that on there. Really didn't make any change, but I just wanted to be able to roll that out. So in case you were wondering, there is a filter in here now with the proper cage. So I guess the next thing I'll do is just take the carb off again and go through it. I do have a carb from another XR200 that I might throw on here just to see if it's something goofy with this one, possibly. I doubt it, because like I said, everything's really clean. All the passages are open, so I really don't know. I tried the different needle clip settings, so I might play with that again, but I don't want it to drag on too long with this video. But the main goal was to get it running. I just wanted to make sure it runs. The engine sounds really good. It doesn't rattle. I don't hear the cam chain. We know the valves are checked, so you're not hearing any clatter there either. It starts up easy. It's just the idling issue. So we'll get that figured out, and I'll eventually get this back on my woods too. There's going to be some other things that needs addressed with this, like wheel bearings, and this thing doesn't have a kill switch on it right now. So I just been pulling the, when it doesn't stall out, I just pull the spark plug cap. So I'll have to get something on there for that too. But thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber, and the bell notification to get notified when the next video on this beast comes out. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next video.